The Supreme Court ruled on Friday that Colorado is not allowed to require an evangelical Christian web designer to provide same-sex wedding websites. SCOTUS found that the state's anti-discrimination law violates the web designer Lori Smith's free speech rights under the First Amendment by demanding she creates same-sex wedding websites if she wants to do so for opposite-sex unions. Smith argued the requirement violated her religious beliefs.
Justice Neil Gorsuch handed down the majority opinion. He wrote, "As this court has long held, the opportunity to think for ourselves and to express those thoughts freely is among our most cherished liberties and part of what keeps our republic strong." Gorsuch added, "Of course, abiding the Constitution's commitment to the freedom of speech means all of us will encounter ideas we consider unattractive." The court's three liberal justices, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, dissented. Sotomayor wrote, "Today, the court, for the first time in its history, grants a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class." So this is a complicated case, and I don't know. I'm of the thinking that, especially as a queer person saying this, a queer woman who could one day marry another woman, I don't have a big problem with this. If you're a small business and you want to decide who you serve and who you do not serve, I think that's within your right. I don't think marriage websites are a public good. I don't find that to be a particularly hot take. And I don't think you're harming people by saying, I'm not going to make the website, find someone else to do it. Do I even want someone who doesn't support my marriage to make the website? Are they going to do a good job? No. Is there only one person who can make the website in the area? Can they find someone else online? I don't know how I feel about this case. It seems to me that I actually don't have a big problem with it. It seems to me that if I was running a business and someone came in and they were wearing Nazi memorabilia and I said, actually, I don't support your political beliefs, you should probably try and, get a smoothie elsewhere. I don't think that should be a big deal.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think businesses should have the right to serve who they want. And what is especially interesting, or pertinent at least in this case, and also the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, is that these are argued not just under religious grounds, but under speech grounds, because both of these services that are being provided, whether it's a design for a website or writing on a cake, they say that this not only violates their religious freedom in terms of who they want to serve, but it's also about their artistic license, right? Because they're actually creating something for a customer that requires them to speak on behalf of something that they disagree with. That's why this becomes such a clear-cut case of a First Amendment violation. In the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, for example, people framed it as, denying service to same-sex couples. But what Jack Phillips did was he actually offered them any pre-made cake. He only said that he wouldn't provide a custom cake that contained language supporting same-sex marriage. And that's where you get away from discrimination law and into a violation of the First Amendment.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's where this distinction comes in from the kind of discrimination that is protected under the law, where you can't be denied to come in and sit in a restaurant if you're Black. That you can't do that in America anymore. I think it's justified that is a law, that you cannot discriminate on the basis of race when it comes to who you serve, and identity in that way. It makes sense that the distinction here is freedom of speech. I think this case specifically being a wedding website makes me, a little bit more skeptical of why the lawsuit came forward anyway. I think if this was a case where someone was denied to enter and sit in a restaurant because of their religious beliefs, their sexual orientation, or their race, the Supreme Court would have ruled in a very different way. I think it's because of what the nature of the website would be. It's something they disagree with. I just wouldn't want someone making my website that disagreed with my marriage on the grounds of they don't believe in same-sex marriage. I just wouldn't want that person making the website. I think because of the nature of the case, it's really easy to see, okay, this was a freedom of speech issue, not a discrimination issue. And I hope that if the court heard another case where it was someone being discriminated against because of their sole identity, denying them to eat at a restaurant because they were a gay person, then I hope the court would rule in the other direction.
And there's certainly tons of competition in the wedding website industry. It's definitely not the case that this couple could not have found someone else to create the website for them. I'm getting married soon, and pretty much every major wedding website has pride banners up for Pride Month, whether it's Wedding Wire, Zola, The Knot. Pretty much all of them also have photos of 2 women or 2 men getting married on the front of their website. So it seems especially targeted that this couple specifically went to a woman who has the view of traditional marriage from her religious principles and decided to file this lawsuit. And this has been a trend in Colorado. Jack Phillips, the baker that I was talking about in the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, has now had 3 additional lawsuits filed against him since he won that case at the Supreme Court. So it starts to seem a lot like targeted harassment, like they're trying to ruin this guy's career or his life. Even if he succeeds at the courts ultimately, he's paying millions of dollars in legal fees to fight what is obviously a baseless case. I think the latest one was from transgender individuals who basically wanted him to create a transition cake. And so I wonder at what point somebody steps in and prevents these people from bringing these cases over and over again by trying to bankrupt him or keep him so tied up in court that he doesn't actually get to run his business. It's actually kind of gross what some of these people are doing. And I feel torn, I guess, on one hand, because there's obviously real discrimination in the United States. But if people are going to abuse the law in order to harass somebody because they don't agree with their religious beliefs, that's just icky.
Yeah, I think this case at the heart of it is, for me, the wedding industry is getting a little out of hand. I mean, it has become so much a way for people to sell goods and services, and it's not really about love as much as it used to be. I'm all for getting people together, celebrating love, having the party, celebrating the union. That's great. But I think we're getting a bit carried away when you think about how much money people are spending on these weddings and how much the standard on social media is pushing people to want more and more extravagant weddings. I think we're getting away from their intended purpose. I think having a wedding website is a crazy thing beyond the organization purpose of having an invitation. I don't know. For me, that being at the heart of this is kind of shocking to me. The fact that we're at this point where people are suing others over a wedding website, like really? To me, that feels like a frivolous lawsuit. I don't know. I just hope that going forward, if we have cases like this brought before the Supreme Court, it's very clear that it was discrimination for identity and not a freedom of speech issue.
Yeah, exactly. And the wedding industry is absolutely insane. It would shock probably most viewers how much even the basic things cost nowadays. I mean, flowers, catering. As someone who's going through it, I can tell you that it is not fun and not easy on the wallet. We'll be back with more Rising after this.